Welcome to Tuna Whistles. I'm your host, Joe Chap, and we are going to bring you some Detroit Lions stuff right now. Today, the Detroit Lions, they had their joint practice with the Jaguars. I did a video below of what they did in that practice. Obviously, the offense didn't have a good day, but the one player that did, Chauncey Gardner Johnson. You know, I think it's undervalued how much that guy could really help this locker room because I feel like you know Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, they've brought a lot of guys in there that just work, 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 work. They're not really a talking type team. Chauncey Gardner Johnson comes in. They are now he's going to be talking. But the key part about it is he will back it up. With the big hits he laid today against Travis Etienne and Jamal Agnew, he's on a totally different level. Let's just be honest. He's on a totally different level. And I really love, I love the way Chauncey Gardner Johnson approached his game. And I feel like this Detroit Lions team really needed a player like Chauncey Gardner Johnson to really spearhead this team going into the future with being a more competitive team that has a little bit of swag. A lot of times people get it confused when you talk about swag. They think when you talk about swag, it's what you wear. It's about how you represent yourself. How do you play, and then how does your play do the talking, and then you kind of roll with it. It just means you're confident. You're confident in what you do. I think that a guy like Chauncey Gardner Johnson is ambitious to the team. There's going to be guys like Kirby Joseph that are watching him. Guys like Malcolm Rodriguez, Jack Campbell, Aiden Hutchinson, Josh Pascal, Broderick Martin. They're going to watch those veterans and see how they work, see how they operate. And then they're going to learn off those guys. And don't get it twisted. Brad Holmes is not going to bring anybody in this locker room that is going to destroy him. He's not going to do that. Every move that Brad Holmes has made has been calculated to a T. And when they brought Chauncey Gardner Johnson in, he talked about in the broadcast, that alternate broadcast, but he said, Brian Branch, he could probably play special teams. And if he earns it on the field, he earns it on the field. Well, Brian Branch is playing pretty damn good. So, and it's good that he has a kind of like a role model like Chauncey Gardner Johnson because, Chauncey Gardner Johnson plays probably the same role that Brian Branch will eventually play. But in the meantime, Chauncey Gardner Johnson's going to assume that slot cornerback role, and he's going to do a great job at it. And, you're going to have Kirby Joseph in the back and Tracy Walker and Brian Branch, and it's going to be fun to watch. But the real reason I made this video is because, I felt like all along the Detroit Lions needed a guy who kind of gives them a little bit of a bump in the swag department. A guy who is like he's infectious to the whole team. Like the whole team like kind of like looks at him and goes, "Damn, he's a cool guy to play with." Like, and he gets their motor running. Like, I think it was Aiden Hutchinson said, when we're kind of like not practicing the right way, this guy comes in and he'll make a play, and then it infects the defense to be a better team, better defense. And that's the kind of guy that will really spearhead an effort for these young players that are on the Detroit Lions roster and kind of get them galvanized into a team, into a group. I feel like the offense right now is galvanized. I feel like that offensive line really galvanizes that offense. St. Brown galvanizes the offense, but they needed that guy in the defensive end. And Chauncey Gardner Johnson coming to the Detroit Lions. I just made a Rebels video, so sorry about that. Chauncey Gardner Johnson coming to the Detroit Lions really helps them and spearheads that effort to where they have a veteran back there that is really going to galvanize the team. They have Cameron Sutton that can galvanize the team as well. And they have a guy that they've been with for a while in Alex Anzalone, who he's been on good teams too. So you have some veteran leadership on that defense that can help that team really, the young players really develop and really kind of galvanize them and keep them from just, over the course of a season, you're going to have games where the defense is they're getting shredded. And there's got to be a veteran leader that's going to be like, listen, guys, it's going to be okay. Let's just go make the next play. You can't worry about the first quarter, you can't worry about the second quarter, but you can worry about now and what's happening right now. And I think that's why they brought Chauncey Gardner Johnson in. And that's why it's such a huge move. Chauncey Gardner Johnson as a player, eighth best safety in football per the ESPN, ranking with the coaches, front office personnel, and scouts. But the impact that he will make on that defense, that is a young defense, cannot be questioned. It's absolute paramount of what Chauncey Gardner brings to that defense. I think a lot of people are overlooking that. So I wanted to bring that to the table. What's your thoughts below? What do you think about Chauncey Gardner Johnson? What do you think he's going to bring to this Detroit Lions team? And what's your expectations for the defense? Because I made a video that I'll post, I'll put the link below or in the end video, where I think Detroit Lions defense is going to be top 10. I think this defense is really good. And it's going to be interesting to see what this Detroit Lions team can do moving forward. I'm Joe Chapp. I'm from Between the Whistles, Detroit Lions News Podcast. We will see you in the next Lions video, which will be tomorrow because another joint practice with the Detroit Lions and the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're obviously going to have the game preview Friday coming out. So if you're just new to the channel, subscribe, and like this video, and we will bring you more Detroit content for Detroit Lions, Pistons, Red Wings, Tigers, Michigan, and Michigan State. And my Michigan State preview will come out next week, so stay tuned for that.